Well, it is one of the least discussed issues in the workplace, and yet it's caused 1 in 5 women to quit their jobs.
Yeah, we're talking about menopause, and a new report from Elektra Health found that a majority of women would like to feel more menopause support from their employer.
Now, joining us now to talk about the results of this study is Elektra Health CEO and co-founder Alessandra Henderson, and nice to have you with us. I know there's a lot of information in this new report, and it's the first of its kind from Elektra Health, right?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, first of all, some of the biggest takeaways from this study.
Sure. So, yeah, thank you so much for having me on and, spreading the word about this really important topic that unfortunately is just under-discussed. So at Elektra Health, we are championing every area of a woman's life in order to smash the menopause taboo. But over the course of the last several years, as we've been building, we've found that menopause in the workplace is a topic that came up repeatedly within our community, especially at a time when women are leaving the workforce in record numbers. The support is more critical than ever, and so we launched a study to make sure that we're understanding what's really going on underneath the surface, and especially in a topic that has felt taboo for so long. Mm-hmm. So you've already called out a couple of those key areas, but one really shocking statistic that I think has blown a lot of people away is the fact that about 20% of women have left or considered leaving their job as a result of their menopause symptoms. 40%, as you can see here, feel it's overlooked by their employer. And then, 42% feel there's not enough mental health support, especially as we've all navigating through the pandemic. Menopause and its symptoms can have a real impact on a woman's emotional, mental health and well-being. And so, it's really critically important. What's not listed there is about 90% of women reported experiencing a menopause symptom in the workplace on the job. So that is a huge, huge number when you think about the millions of women in the workforce. And these are women at the height of their careers who really deserve more support. So we hope that this kind of bringing this into the forefront really is a rallying cry for employers to provide more support.
So you highlighted some of the numbers we just saw there, but were there any disparities in the workplace and your results when it came to race?
Sure. So to put it simply, yes. We highlighted a handful of important disparities. There's more, of course, research that needs to be done, but just to call out a few. So first of all, our report revealed that 24% of women of color reported having not pursued a promotion due to their menopause symptoms. That's in comparison to 16% of women. So that's a huge increase in terms of when you think of, especially as thinking about women advancing in the workplace. The second key area around race is that 63% of Black women felt that they would be a target of ageism if they openly discussed their menopause experience. That's in comparison to 51% of white women, so about a 12% difference there. So you can see, the takeaway is that women of color may feel the impact of their menopause journey more acutely than their white colleagues, and are either afraid or are not speaking up and are not advancing as much in the workplace as a result. So again, this is our rallying cry for employers to understand and better support the women, and especially the women of color within their workplace. And also for any woman who is listening today to know that you're not alone, that in fact many other women in your organization are feeling the same way. And it's really time to stop and as we like to say at Elektra, smash the menopause taboo.
Well, we're seeing a lot and talking a lot about it. I feel like these days more than ever before. I mean, it's no secret. I talk a lot about it just in terms of understanding symptoms. But what are you hoping comes out of releasing this study? What kind of change do you want to see? Yeah,
so change really needs to happen across many different levels. First of all, it needs to happen on that individual level. So really admire you, Tamsin, and I know you had an article and shared your story about menopause, your experience of menopause in the workplace. And so, our hope with this survey is that it empowers individual women, both in our community and hopefully those who come to join Elektra, to share their story and to feel empowered and educated. Secondly, would really love to see more organizations actually implement better policies and to start talking about this openly. Our report really laid bare that gap in women's health support and women's health benefits. I know this is a topic that's top of mind for many companies today. And so it's important to expand that conversation, especially when we think about employee retention, productivity, and then thirdly, of course, just really signaling to your female workforce that you support them no matter what stage of their health and wellness they're in.
All right. Well, Alessandra, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, where can people go to review this survey and the results and find out more information about Elektra?
So visit our website at elektrahealth.com. That's Elektra with a K. And we have 4 employers and a blog post all about our menopause in the workplace survey.
All right. Thank you so much. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Thank you.